is going for second place.
Oh, it did not.
It's over, ladies and gentlemen.
And once I did that, I was like, it's over. Like, I'm thinking this in my mind, but my arms all of a sudden just start working, and my mouth say it's over. But that's how good I felt that night, and it's one of the greatest feelings ever.
Faizal Khamisa with Michael Grange. We're getting set to host an NBA watch party Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern on YouTube and on Facebook. It is the 2000 Slam Dunk Contest where Vince Carter dunked his way into the hearts of so many people. So why not talk about it a little bit with Michael Grange, who obviously covers the Toronto Raptors right now. Firstly, Michael, can you believe it's been 20 years?
Kind of. I can, actually. I was thinking back to that. I didn't actually cover that All-Star game, but I remember vividly watching it with my wife. And I can remember it's 20 years because my daughter wasn't born yet, so she's about to turn 19. So it's pretty easy kind of marker there for me. But
Maybe.
It's amazing what's happened in 20 years, and It's amazing how relevant that moment still is.
Maybe the question should be, can you believe it's been 20 years and Vince only just retired from the NBA?
That I wouldn't have predicted.
Yeah.
And, again, going back to that moment, it was so much obviously at the outset of Vinsanity. It was maybe the launching pad for it. I mean, he had a great rookie season, but it was a shortened NBA season in 98, 99. People forget the lockout and all of that. And so this was 99, 2000. The Raptors were about to make the playoffs for the first time. And Vince was blowing up. He was just having an incredible season. And, he was emerging as a superstar, and this was kind of him taking center stage. And, he probably peaked in the next year or two after that. And then his whole story changed after that. And you would not have predicted at any point in maybe those next 5-6 years that he would have been playing in 2020, whatever year we are in now.
Yeah, honestly, the last 6 weeks have felt like 20 years in a lot of ways as well. So, I'm 11 years old at the time. So in my eyes, growing up in the greater Toronto area, Vince is the coolest person of all time. So it obviously hurt to see those down years, but this moment is forever etched in my mind. And I knew what the Toronto perception was, and I knew maybe what the Canadian perception was. What changed in the league perception of Vince Carter after this, if anything?
Well, the secret was out, and I think the bubble was the buzz was bubbling, was growing, and then it was just one. That's why I think why it was such a perfect moment, because for people who were paying attention, I mean, he had been blowing up on ESPN highlights and things like that. That was a big reason for Vince becoming Vince, because the Raptors were completely irrelevant at that point, and about every third night it seemed he'd hit a winning shot, or he'd have a game-winning dunk, or he'd have some other reason that he was on like SportsCenter top 10. And it really changed the perception of the Raptors. And then you have an event where the whole basketball world, the whole sports world is watching, and he does something, kind of magical and unprecedented. Keep in mind the dunk contest hadn't been held for a few years, and it was kind of completely in the doldrums. Like it was they didn't know what to do with it, and he elevated it to maybe even past the heights it had been in the 80s. And so all those things came together at that moment, and then the Raptors went on to win and be successful the next few years. So it really was sort of a kind of a place where all these forces sort of gathered and kind of splashed out on the international stage.
What was your favorite Vince dunk of the night?
I would say for sure the elbow in the rim.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can do that. There you go. The elbow in the rim. And I almost hurt my shoulder there. But, just because all of them were amazing.
Yeah.
But I remember watching that one going, it took a minute for it to sink in. It's like, what? And then you just realize that it was just so theatrical. And there was just so much awareness, conscious or not, of what the rest of his body was looking and how it would look to an audience. So often those dunks and his dunks are just so fast and explosive, and you kind of have to watch it 4 times, and then you're amazed. But that one was it just sort of stopped time right there, and it made a great signature.
I was watching the E60 on Vince Carter just a couple weeks ago, and he said for that dunk, he didn't want the oohs and ahs. He wanted silence because he wanted people to be stunned by what he had just done. And like you said, I think it took everybody a moment to realize, oh, he didn't just slam the ball into the hoop. He like put his entire arm in there and hung on that for a little bit as well.
It was the hanging. I think that was the key because had he just done it and pulled his arm out, well, he might have broke it. I mean, he might have caught it on the rim. Who knows? But just to swing on there and let people gather what had happened, it was an amazing moment.
Why do you think he never did it again?
I think it goes. There is an element of showmanship to Vince, and I think sometimes showmen know when they can't top themselves, and I think I applaud him for it. I'm sure if I can remember, he was criticized maybe for not doing it again, but I think all these years later, it's better. It's just because he did it the one time, it was essentially perfect, and we're still talking about it. So otherwise we'd be comparing which was better, which was worse. Yeah. I think how much he thought about that, probably not much, but I thought he knew he nailed it. So why go back to the well?
And it's the reason we're going to replay it again Friday on Sportsnet's YouTube and Facebook page at 8 p.m. Eastern. NBA Watch Party featuring the 2000 Slam Dunk competition where Vince Carter went bananas. Michael, listen, thank you for this. I hope you continue to stay safe, and we'll chat soon.
You too, Faisal. Take care.
Thank you.